With Chinese provocations at sea, debate in Taiwan over who should be responsible for drawing the boundaries for Taiwan's surrounding waters, the military or the Coast Guard. Israel strikes Iran's nuclear sites. Tehran responds with drone attacks. Is a new war beginning in the Middle East?
我们香港人其实可能来到台湾这一边，也非常感谢台湾会有这个空间然后希望大家可以持续关注香港的情况。
Hong Kongers in Taiwan mark 6 years since a violent crackdown on protests in the territory. Plus, competitors are ready to show who can be the best at sleeping. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. Taiwan's presidential office says they've made good on a pledge to invite opposition leaders to a briefing on matters of national security.
由于这是我国第一次向在野政党领袖进行国安简报，期待能够获得两党正面的回应，务求这简报帮助在野领袖完整了解当前国家安全情势。
The briefing is scheduled for next Wednesday. It was promised by President Lai Ching-te in his first anniversary speech last month as an olive branch to the opposition. It comes amid growing partisan rancor in Taiwan's legislature as dozens of opposition lawmakers face potential recall votes in the next few weeks that could see them lose their majority. A proposal to change the government body responsible for drawing the boundaries for Taiwan's so-called prohibited and restricted waters has stirred up political debate along party lines. John Van Trieste explains.
Chinese boats, here seen entering Taiwan's prohibited and restricted waters, areas surrounding Taiwan drawn under current cross-strait laws and designed to prevent just this kind of scenario. But who should get to define these waters? Right now, the military is in charge of mapping out the boundaries. But not everyone thinks this is the right way to go, especially in waters that have explicitly been removed from military jurisdiction. Opposition Kuomintang lawmaker Chen Yongkang is proposing a change to the law that would give the job instead to the Ocean Affairs Council, the body in charge of the Coast Guard. Supporters of the idea say it could lessen the risk of dangerous situations, especially in Taiwan's outlying island regions of Jinmen and Mazu.
如果用在跟中共重叠水域的部分，用海巡等于是第二海军来巡守的话，事实上对整个安全也避免产生第一级的这个误判。
But some in the ruling Democratic Progressive Party are suspicious. They worry the move will dilute Taiwan's sovereignty over these waters, and are especially wary of language in the proposal stating that there's been no official end to the Chinese Civil War. They're worried this will make any conflict with China seem as an internal affair, and therefore deter outside help.
一旦进入了中国对于台湾享有治权这个法律战的框架之下，台海发生任何的战事，国际军事的协助都被斩断。
But not everyone shares those concerns.
对方对这个我们这个海域的袭扰仍然不断，目前看来还是以交由海委会来管理是比较适当的方式。
In a period of sharp partisan division, even the question of how to define Taiwan's surrounding waters is a charged one, with few easy answers. Scott Huang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
In separate statements, the Ocean Affairs Council and Defense Ministry said they do not support changing the law as it touches on questions of national security and sovereignty that could mislead the international community. Israel launched military strikes against Iran early on Friday, with Iran retaliating with a drone attack shortly after. It comes just days before the U.S. and Iran were scheduled to hold nuclear arms negotiations in Oman, and shortly after, a UN nuclear watchdog accused Iran of violating its nonproliferation obligations. Gino Lopez reports.
Fires rage across the Iranian capital of Tehran. As Israel rains down missiles, saying it targeted Iranian commanders, nuclear scientists, and weapons facilities. While the number of deaths and injuries are still unclear, Israel says it was the only course of action to stop Iran from developing a nuclear weapon.
We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world.
The attack comes after the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's nuclear watchdog, released a report censuring Iran for the first time in 20 years. It said Iran failed to comply with obligations limiting its nuclear program so as not to produce weapons. In response, Iran announced it would open a new uranium enrichment site, calling the censure politically motivated. Meanwhile, Israel's defense ministry says it assessed that Iran had enough uranium to create 9 nuclear bombs and launched what it called preemptive strikes. 2 nuclear scientists and 3 top Iranian military generals have been confirmed killed so far. Shortly after the strikes, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned Iran not to respond to Israeli strikes by hitting American bases, insisting that Washington was not involved. But an Israeli state broadcaster said that Israel coordinated with the United States before attacking Iran, citing an anonymous Israeli official. The U.S. and Iran were scheduled to hold a 6th round of indirect nuclear arms negotiations in Oman on June 15. Trump previously expressed hope Israel would hold off on its strikes, saying his administration was close to an agreement with Tehran. Analysts say this new development may have damaged the progress of previous negotiations.
So I think this is taking aim at sabotaging diplomacy. The next round of talks was scheduled this Sunday between the U.S. and Iran. We'll see if this has any impact on that. I don't think the Iranians should leave the negotiating table. In fact, they should use the negotiating room to put more pressure on the U.S. to not go down the military path, because this is going to be devastating for the region.
Following Israel's attacks, it says Iran launched more than 100 attack drones in retaliation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suggesting that more attacks on Iran are to follow. The UN and several countries are calling on both sides to exercise restraint, as the region braces for further escalation in an already volatile situation. Dolphin Chen and Gina Lopez for TaiwanPlus.
Palau is one of Taiwan's closest diplomatic allies, but the two are also friends on the baseball diamond. That could be seen last month when Palau sent its national baseball team to Taiwan to train for the upcoming Pacific Mini Games. To learn more about how the two countries are going to bat together, I spoke with Palau's ambassador to Taiwan, David Adams Orukem. So just give me an idea of what is the baseball scene like in Palau?
Baseball is the game in Palau. Everybody in Palau grew up with baseball. Whether you like it or not, you're drawn to it. And you always kind of have a son or a daughter who talk about baseball. It's Palau's most popular game.
So, Ambassador, you must have had a lot of time in your time in Taiwan to observe Taiwan's baseball culture. Can you tell us what are some of the differences and the similarities between Taiwan and Palau's baseball scene?
The similarities is the love of the game, and that itself shows what Palau is about the baseball game. I'm very proud of the Palau team that's here, but I'm so happy that they're able to be here and train with some of the best here in Taiwan. And hopefully, I really want them to be in the same level that I see the Taiwanese baseball players.
Can you just tell us a little bit about how this plan got started? For me, we found out because the sports administration told us, hey, the Palau national baseball team is here training in Taiwan, and we're thinking, wow, how'd that happen?
The Republic of Palau and Taiwan are very close. We work every day in promoting the relationship between the two countries. And to have the team here show the closer relationship that Palau and Taiwan has.
这个一切源自于在去年我们赢了2024的世界12强的棒球那个棒球赛事拿到冠军。那刚好赖总统他去访问帛琉的时候，帛琉总统 Whips 就跟他讲说，他们今年2025年的6月底即将举办太平洋迷你运动会。那他们过去呢都只能拿到银牌跟铜牌，最大的对手都是关岛。那知道我们很强，所以他当面拜托我们的赖总统说，可不可以让他们的国家队来我们台湾做异地训练，请我们给一些指导。所以今年我们就促成了这样由体育署出面来促成了这个计划。那他们来这边异地训练2个月的期间呢，我们还邀请王建民来给他一个特别的指导。那他们的棒球投手也很兴奋也受益良多。
Between Japan and Taiwan, we've had our team go to each country to do either training or play games. But in Taiwan, it's the first time that they come this length of time to train, and that shows the best of our relationship between both Palau and Taiwan. And this is only a beginning. We're going to be looking to other games, not just the baseball and ping pong, but other form of games that Palau meet and continue to train its sports people. So when I heard that they were coming, I didn't know there was too many of them. Well, when I got the list, I was ecstatic. I was so happy. And we have the entire team that's going to learn what they've learned here and represent Palau in the micro games.
What have you heard about maybe from the coaches from Palau here, or maybe the coaches here in Taiwan? What kind of results are they seeing from the training program here?
A lot of improvements. They only say good things about them. It makes me very happy and very proud of being their ambassador. And I guess when I talk to their coaches, they're so happy that I have the opportunity to work with them. And it's all good. It's all everything that I hear about them through coaches makes me more prouder than ever. Yeah.
经过这一段时间的这个协助跟指导过程当中，在观念上面的建立，其实差异性变得非常的大。在转传啦，或者在接球啦，在流畅性啊、稳定性，这是一个很关键的点，就是在于失误的比例变得很少。
We've learned a lot. Pitchers do a lot of techniques, mechanics, fielders. Same we do, and especially batting. We've been learning a lot for batting.
We went out to the sports university to see the team play, and there's a lot of spirit behind all those guys. They're cheering each other on when there's a strike. The dugout's like, yeah. When they get a hit, they're like, yeah. Where does that spirit come from? Is that a Palauan cultural identity, spiritual characteristic?
The Palauans, when it comes to sports activities, they support each other. And that spirit comes naturally, not only baseball, but and all other games in Palau, but especially baseball being a favorite game in Palau, a sport in Palau. The cheering for one another and supporting them and to improve them in whatever they do within the team itself. And you can see that within the games when they're played in Palau, always trying to get better than what they're doing. And so that spirit is there, and I think it's a local spirit as well.
That was Palau's ambassador to Taiwan, David Adams Oricum. You can watch the full interview with him on Zoom and Zoom Out by visiting our website or YouTube channel. And we're going to take a short break, but stay with us because coming up, a young city couple heads to the countryside for a little piece of the sweet life.
Thank you for sharing our passion for food and Taiwan. Veggie Island explores the vibrant world of plant-based cuisine.
Wow, this is amazing.
While Taiwan on the Rocks uncovers the stories and craftsmanship behind every sip.
Have you ever tried Taiwanese beer?
Are you ready to taste even more of Taiwan?
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. It's been 6 years since massive anti-extradition protests in Hong Kong began turning violent. To mark that day, civic groups held a rally in Taipei. Attendees said they hope to keep the memory of what happened in Hong Kong alive in the minds of Taiwanese. And Cadence Quaranto was there.
Civic groups have taken to the streets in Taipei on the 6th anniversary of a grim day in Hong Kong. In 2019, there were huge protests in Hong Kong against a bill that would allow people to be extradited to mainland China. Those began peacefully, but that changed on June 12th of that year when confrontations with police grew tense and police began firing tear gas and rubber bullets into crowds, the first time they'd been used in decades. Some reportedly beat protesters. It's become known as the 612 incident, and unrest continued for months afterward. Since then, freedoms in Hong Kong have been curbed further by Beijing, with the territory using a national security law passed in 2020 to imprison pro-democracy activists. Here in Taipei, this anniversary event was organized in the hopes that the public will continue to pay attention to the situation in Hong Kong and learn from Hong Kong's experience to stand up to China.
我们香港人其实可能来到台湾这一边，也非常感谢台湾会有这个空间，让我们可以把香港的声音让大家去知道，然后希望大家可以持续关注香港的情况。当然，最后的话是对于台湾民众的话，我们希望台湾民众可以真的是警觉中国的一种威胁。
More than 40 people from Hong Kong, Taiwan, as well as other countries turned out even as it started raining, waving Hong Kong independence flags and chanting slogans.
因为台湾也是有一些就是在就现在紧张对峙的状况下，有一些问题需要面对。那可能就是看一下香港人对我们有什么想法，或者是我们对香港人会有什么想法。
台湾目前立法院发生的事情，在几年前在香港也是发生过类似的事件。这是一个可以看得出来，就是正在缓慢对我们进行的计划。所以我觉得台湾人非常有必要去记住这香港的事件。
Facing its own threats from China, many people here in Taiwan care deeply about what's happening in Hong Kong, raising awareness for a key moment in Hong Kong's history and the state of the territory as a whole. Andy Xue and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Over 200 people are dead after an Air India flight bound for London crashed just seconds after takeoff. As condolences pour in from Taiwan and around the world, investigators have begun the long task of determining what went wrong. John Van Trieste has the latest.
Emergency crews sort through the charred wreckage of a Boeing Dreamliner and the belongings of its dead passengers. There's no one here to rescue. Only one of the 242 people on board this Air India flight from Ahmedabad to London survived the crash just seconds after takeoff. Officials say even one survivor is a miracle.
मगर 1.25 लाख लीटर ईंधन विमान के अंदर ही था.
The plane carried almost 125,000 liters of fuel, and the temperature rose to extreme levels. There was no chance of saving anyone. I visited the crash site. The retrieval of the dead bodies of the passengers is almost complete.
It's clear that this will be one of the worst air crashes in Indian history. But a full death count may take time. The crash may have killed people on the ground, too. The plane barreled into a residential area not far from the runway, hitting this hostel for doctors. Now, some medical students inside at the time are themselves hospitalized. There's also no telling yet why the takeoff failed either. Understanding what went wrong will take an exhaustive investigation. India, the UK, and the US, where Boeing is based, will all be involved.
We are going to do a fair and thorough investigation. We are not going to spare anyone. We are not going to leave any stone unturned. We'll do properly according to the protocol, and we are going to go to the depth of why this incident has happened. That much I can tell you now.
For now, it's raw shock, grief, and horror as victims' relatives and eyewitnesses tried to come to grips with what's happened.
I dropped off my parents-in-law at the airport at 11:30 a.m. and they had a 1 p.m. flight, and the moment I reached Baroda and had my food, I watched the news. I inquired and came to know it was the same flight which my parents-in-law boarded.
My sister was going to London. The plane was scheduled at 1:10. She was going to London. The plane crashed before she could reach London.
As investigators take their places, a shaken city of nearly 8 million faces a painful cleanup and a search for answers about how such a tragedy could have happened. Hank Xu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Hundreds of people in Taipei grabbed their blankets, pillows, and eye masks on Friday and headed for an annual competition in sleep. Could you fall asleep in 7 minutes? And if you could, how good would that sleep be? That's what you're looking at here. People are competing to see who can get the best quality snooze in a short period of time. On top of that, they have to do it in less than ideal conditions. There's someone speaking loudly over a speaker, crowds of people watching them, and an exhibition going on at the same time. It's an event that's drawn hundreds of people after last year's competition went viral.
可能有一些参与的消费者可能是网红啦，所以他流量非常高。我记得有一个参赛者流量1300万次，就是观看数。
Here are the rules. Participants are given 7 minutes to sleep. Each person wears a pulse oximeter to measure their heart rate and blood oxygen levels. Staff go around tracking each person's numbers, and that's how they measure each person's sleep quality. Participants came to the competition loaded for bear. From blankets to eye masks to even plushies, people brought what they needed to get their best rest.
我今天有准备这个毯子，然后眼罩，然后还有这个耳机，
小被被跟抱枕。
But one of the competition's top performers didn't bring anything. Her strategy was more about technique than equipment.
其实没有，因为我就是陪朋友来的，所以我就什么都没准备。哦，因为我发现这边灯光蛮亮的，所以我刚刚后来就是侧睡，然后有就是遮光一下。
This competition, now in its 3rd year, takes place alongside a trade show promoting sleep products. Taiwan's work culture is one of the most demanding in the world, and that makes sleep a precious commodity.
早上起来的时候觉得睡不够，对，还想再睡一下。
工作可能压力比较大，对，然后因为可能是就是压力大，就会影响到睡不太好，这样不太敢好好睡觉。
Sleep might not be the most conventional competitive category, but if this event highlights anything, it's that everyone needs it, and most would like more of it, no matter where, when, or how. Patrick Sun and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus. A couple living in a rural part of northeastern Taiwan has won renown for their dessert store, where they serve creative treats all made using ingredients sourced from local small farmers. Chelsea Wu has the story.
8 years ago, Chen Zuyong and Yo Ya-chun traded city living for the slower pace of life in the countryside of Yilan in northeastern Taiwan. They opened a cozy dessert shop filled with cakes and the scent of tea leaves. But beyond the sweets, there's a purpose.
我们一直会去找在地的产品啊，不管是农产品或者是一些其他的原物料，我们觉得点子创意够得上的，我们就会去采用它，去来试试看这样。
The couple roam around the area on their days off to meet with small farmers who share their values, aiming to blend creativity and local ingredients into everything they serve.
我发现他们夫妻俩很用心，而且他们会想要选用我们在地小农的食材。我们的生产的东西要想办法把它卖出去的话，也是一个瓶颈。然后他们会想要用我们在地小农的米啊，或者是茶叶来做一些，把它做成创新，让米不只是吃饭而已。
To chase their dream, Chen and his then girlfriend, now wife Yo, even went all the way to Australia, working and saving every dollar for their future shop. But plans don't always unfold as expected. By the time they returned to Taiwan in 2016, the Australian dollar had dropped, cutting into their savings. Still, they pushed forward. The shop opened in 2017, but business was slow and the pressure was heavy.
那时候的想象觉得开一间咖啡店很舒服，然后很赚钱。但后来实际上开了咖啡店之后才发现，开咖啡店不是这么一回事。一开始的时候，其实我们有时候一天只有卖1杯咖啡，然后我们夫妻两个要坐在店里面装客人， 然后当然也有一部分比较辛苦的地方，比较负面的是，我们那时候刚开店的时候，其实遇到蛮多酸言酸语。对，但我觉得那都是日后的养分呐。你要喝浅焙还是深焙？好。
After surviving the tough times, they opened a second shop in 2018, and the desserts began gaining recognition. Their kumquat cheesecake and black tea rice chiffon cake were named among Ilan's top 10 local delicacies in 2020 and 2023.
我们这家店是我们2个一起打造起来的，然后现在也已经8年了，然后就觉得，应该是还可以继续下去，然后就是想要再做一些更多事情，例如支持我们在地小农啊，或者是在找一些当地宜兰特色，然后因为我觉得我们真的很爱宜兰嘛，所以就想说看可不可以多帮宜兰做一些事情啊。
8 years on, the couple has grown from young returnees to established locals. They've not only built their dessert shop, but also a family, crafting a richer and more meaningful life than they ever expected in this rural part of Taiwan. Luffy Lee and Chelsea Wu for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Finally today, we take you to London, where Japanese artist Nara Yoshitomo is holding his first solo exhibition in the UK. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.